Julio Macias and I first connected for this beautiful project with Audible, and I quickly realized how lucky I was to be in community with him, to learn and be inspired by him. Julio is an actor and producer who has and is doing the work of freeing one's mind and challenging the status quo.
I feel like the Mexican people, we are incredibly accommodating. You hear Mexicans talk, a lot of the way that our language is or our flavor of Spanish is formulated is submissive, right? As opposed to other countries where it's a little bit more just direct.
He is opening doors, taking risks, and inspiring so many, myself included. This convo was, I believe, the first of many. I hope the first of many. Enjoy.
We're not given enough time to do self-tapes, right? We're not given enough time so let's push for a certain time frame. And we got that in the negotiation, and then immediately afterwards, the casting director's like, "Hey, we understand that, but can you sign this waiver saying that you can turn this in 2 days, because the studio needs it then, or the whatever needs it then." And we all started signing like, "Yeah, it's either don't do the audition or sign the paper that says you'll turn it in 2 days." Now the standard is, give it to me in 2 days.
Yeah.
And we went on strike for having more time, and now we have less time.
Do you think if you trained an AI version of you, it would do better than you or worse?
It would do exactly what I do. And my one saving grace is that I saw this video of this person saying they can copy the what emotions look like, but they can't feel it. And I think that's that uncanny valley where, like, the shape, they can copy the shape of emotion but not the depth of emotion. Like
the face squinches when you're crying.
The face, or like I'm smiling, like this is a joke, right? Like the face is there. Something is missing underneath that, right? The face is there. Something is missing underneath. That underneath is our lived experiences. Can AI emulate a soul? I don't know.
I'm not voting for this game, but I am interested in, like, if I trained me and it did all my auditions, what would the numbers be?
What would the numbers be? Would I be batting higher?
Would I be batting higher?
It's like I don't have the time to prepare the best version of this.
But that's expensive, I think. That's the thing about the Tilly. I think it's like ridiculously expensive to have the AI actor every like minute that it's doing something. It costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now.
But it's also a fraction of the cost of what a studio film costs.
Yes. We have a mutual friend that Annie, who I went deep dive into about. You were like, okay, so AI has no lived experience. It can like portray the emotion, but it can't like live it. And I'm not sure that art these days, or studios these days, or people signing checks these days are interested in anything below the surface. Like, I actually believe that, no shade to Glenn Powell, but like he's a golden retriever. Like, what happened to the interesting people? We don't have a Pacino. We don't have a Nicholson. We don't have. I'm like, would those people work these days? I don't know that we make those stories. They're not working. Like, I don't know that we make those stories anymore, where we need, like, honestly, below the surface depth. It's just, I mean, it's my take. No shade, like Glenn, you're super sweet.
No, I think that it is a reflection of what the world feels like they want now. I feel like everyone over, I don't know, 25 years old is looking for nostalgia and safe. There's like, the world has been overstimulating since we were born. Can I have a moment of just like, I need a golden retriever right now. I just need a golden retriever to, like, that I can pet, right? But that is diametrically opposed to like how the I would say 25 and under, who were born already into this overstimulating place, and everyone older than them is like, look, we just need to calm down. And they're like, I feel like my entire life has just been
Mm.
calm down, calm down. We need a this push for we need the flip phones. I want to go to the movie theaters, right? Like
Do you have a flip phone?
I don't have a flip phone, but like my nieces and nephews who are under 20 all
Flip
have
phones?
like either they have flip phones or like their iPhones are like blocked so they
Yeah,
look
yeah, yeah.
like retro, right? Or retro. And they're excited to go to the mall and watch a movie. And I'm like, why? It's like because formative years were spent in isolation. And now we have this opportunity. It's like, yeah, video games is still something that we do, but like I want to go hang out with my friends outside doing something, right? Walking up to the studio, there was a group of like 6 girls that couldn't have been older than 17 that were just like walking around taking pictures on like
Unreal cameras.
yeah.
Cool.
Right?
Sick. Sick.
So
Also, so Highland Park.
yeah.
Like,
Facts.
but I'm into it. This is like a sneak peek to another episode we'll have this season. We're working with this water healer. She like heals people using water. I won't give much more away than that, but we were chatting about frequency. And there's like a healing frequency, 724 hertz or 427, something like that.
Yeah.
I became obsessed with it when this Vietnamese artist takes weapons and he melts them down, and then he's like and he tunes them to a frequency, and he turns them into like healing bells. So he'll like turn weapons into bells,
That's
into
sick.
sound, healing sounds.
Yeah.
It is sick. And she was like, oh yeah, there's, water has a frequency too. It carries sound, and we have water in us. And she was talking about, every billboard also has a frequency, and every piece of thing on your phone and every piece of content. And the frequency of life right now is so high. It's not what our nervous systems are designed to do. And why Japan loves forest bathing. And we're supposed to just like tune out the frequency as much as you can. Find the flip phone, take the old school picture, like find ways to not be so energetically charged.
Yeah. I find that with my kids, there's something interesting where both me and my wife have always had the television in the background, right? Throughout the entirety of our relationship, the TV is always on. We're not watching it. It's just
doing its thing.
It's just on, right? Whatever thing, whatever show, whatever cooking thing, whatever travel thing, it's just on. And we never switch that up with our kids. And it's like our kids are no screen in the sense that they don't have tablets and they don't have access to like YouTube. But also they're desensitized where we see like they'll be hanging out with some other friends who have zero screen time, and anytime the TV turns on or something, they like swoop, and they lock in.
It's so wild.
My kids could care less. They are if I don't know, some cartoon is on and we open the door to let the dogs out, they immediately want to run outside and like color on the ground, right? So there's this idea we don't know with our ideas that we desensitize them to television. Probably not.
Now
true.
that's the TV, but are they like that with a screen, or does the screen give them that like I'm locked in effect?
You
don't know yet.
They don't have iPads. We don't, we let them throw their tantrums in the restaurant when they have to throw their tantrums, but we won't pull out a phone to like distract them. So we don't know yet. They're also very young, but I do feel that they go outside and I go outside with them, and it's just quiet, and it's just. I wonder if they're like self-regulating
their own
yeah
nervous systems.
Yeah.
We jumped in. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, yes. My name is Julio Macias, and I'm an actor-producer.
Where are you from?
Originally Mexico City, but I've lived in Los Angeles since I was 8 years old. So I consider myself an Angelino.
Do you miss Mexico?
I do. It's a weird yearning where I have come to the realization, I mean years back, but I've come to the realization that I probably won't unless it's for work, I probably won't live anywhere else other than Los Angeles. I do love this city. But whenever I go to Mexico, it is almost like a dream. like a nice place where I close my eyes and that's where I go,
Huh.
right? Um, but it's not a place that I can stay in. Um, Much like a dream, like you eventually have to wake up, and even if you try to go back to sleep, it's like no, I'm recharged, I'm ready to go. I'm
You
like
like the frequency of LA
I like
more
the
than
yeah, I like the frequency of LA. But I do miss I miss the food. I see my family often enough, but obviously family. Um, this cultural feeling where I feel like that I fit in, right? Like this is oh man, this is my. Even though the longer that I spend there, the more that I realize that I no longer belong here.
Hmm.
I feel like I fit in, but it's very clear that the city that I was born in and grew up in has evolved into something else. That there's space for me there, but they didn't wait for me, right?
Well, the irony, because now Mexico City is so flooded with like whatever you want to call them, gringos,
Yeah.
teleworkers,
Yeah.
virtual remote people. Like, I was just there, and man, the graffiti all over that was like "Gringo, go home."
Mhm.
At least learn Spanish with some like graffiti.
Pay some taxes.
Yo, pay some taxes. Like you're messing up my rent. You're messing up my
Yeah.
city. So you say when you go back, you don't feel like
No,
them.
because
No.
I don't really spend time in what people would consider the where those people are moving into, like Roma,
That's yeah.
So my family's kind of scattered all throughout the city. I grew up further down south, closer to the. It used to be Six Reino Aventura. I think now it's like a Six Flags, but it's up in closer and going into the mountains, right? So yeah, my experience is different when I go there, even though those areas are also changing and growing and expanding. Um, Something that again I find interesting as an outsider looking in, right? So it's very different from when someone is living there and these things are actively changing them and affecting them, right? And I think that that's when the error comes from a lot of intellectuals that just uh, philosophize on like, well, this is how it was historically speaking. It's like yes, but historically speaking, Mexico City has always been a transit state, right? Where before it was a marsh, and then the Mexica came in, and the Mexica are already an amalgamation of a lot of different communities, and so it wasn't just one people, right? And so even within the existence of Tenochtitlan before the Spanish came in, was a constantly changing and shifting geography. The Spanish come in, they do what they do, right? And it becomes this new city. But then wave after wave after wave after wave of European immigrants, Asian immigrants, right? Um, African immigrants, and the this is not the first time that it's been like, hey, whoever's here, get out because you're changing the way that
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
exist here, right? Um, this one seems a little bit um, more opportunistic, if you will.
Yes.
Where before it was like, I'm leaving everything behind to start a new life here. Where now it's like, I'm gonna live
Leave my
here.
apartment in Brooklyn while I sublet it,
Yeah,
so I can save some money.
exactly. And I can just exit whenever I want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And if I stay in these two neighborhoods, I don't really have to do much. I
Exactly.
don't actually have to learn Spanish.
No, no, no. And that's another thing. Like the I feel like the Mexican people, we are incredibly accommodating. Like it's even in
To a
the
fault or to a this is a
to a
good.
fault. I lived in Miami for a little bit, and I had Argentinian friends when we would speak in Spanish, and I would say, um, I wouldn't understand what they said, or they would say it too fast, and I would say, "Oh, disculpe," or "perdón," and they'd be like, "Why are you apologizing?" It's like, "Oh, I didn't hear you." It's like, I understand you didn't hear me, but why did you apologize to me for not hearing? And when you hear Mexicans talk, a lot of the way that our languages or our flavor of Spanish is formulated is submissive,
Hmm.
right? As opposed to other countries where it's a little bit more of just direct and And in that submissiveness, I think that that is why the a lot of people say, oh, the service industry in Mexico is like, wow, I really feel like this person works for me because of the way that they speak, because of the way that we
Para servir,
para
they have
servir.
that language.
Yeah, para servir.
Which for those who don't know, it literally means to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And they say it all the time.
Yeah.
You say thank you, para servir, to serve.
Yeah. So I would say it is to a fault. But again, there's also a whole new generation that's angry and just like, yo, I'm done with that.
I wish that wasn't to a fault. Like, I wish we liked generosity.
Right.
I wish if more people in this world outside of a working context said to serve, I think we would have less harm in the world.
I think so.
Like across the board. Actually, dare I say, like, if only 5% of people adopted this to serve,
yeah,
we would have less harm in the world.
I think so. And it is, for example, that is how I approach film, right? And this whole industry is how do I serve the larger purpose, right? It helps me also regulate my expectations on where I'm supposed to perform. It's like, does this movie work? It's for the egotistical person can say, oh, it only works or doesn't work if it's on my shoulders. I'm like, if it works, it's because we all did a great job. If it doesn't work, it's because we all didn't do a great job, right? But I do feel that there is this sense of how am I serving the larger project, and that makes me inherently feel good.
That's hard across every level of, because we are humans. I don't think there's many people who can do that. And if we're just talking about actors, at a co-star level, a guest star, series regular level, a lead level, just because the system is so designed, like for those who don't know, there's literally numbers on a call sheet, like you're numbered in terms of your value, and so it's kind of crazy to be like, I'm a 6, but I'm here to serve, like, but I want to be a 1, or so that I like this. I also think I try to go in with this because I think it helps relax my ego anxiety, frequency, nervous system, anxiety. That there's just also so many people there participating in this thing, and I need them. Also, we spend a lot more time hanging out with people on a set than doing the work.
Yes,
and so you should be nice.
I I have a big, I have a large amount of respect. Also, hey, are you okay? For a writer, director, starring, editor, producer, like, I'm like, good for you. Also, do you need to talk?
I feel so called out because I just shot this short. I just shot this short where I was like, wrote it, directed it, started it, and I was like, this is too much. Instantly, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why didn't I invite more people to the table? Like, why am I holding on?
Well, you have a vision, and there is a certain amount of I can make this the best that it can because I know what the potential of it is in my head, and if I give that power to someone else, I am inviting their opinion, and I don't actually want it.
Actually, Ben, yesterday, remember I told you about my worst advice was like, be the captain of your own ship. So Ben has this beautiful show, and he asked me, what's the worst advice you ever got? And I said, someone like quite successful said, be the no matter what is happening, no matter who's around you, you're the captain of your own ship. And because I'm aggressive, I take it too far all the time, where I'm like, oh, I have to write, direct, produce, star, cook food for everyone, mop the floors, and it's exhausting. And that's me taking it too far. Like, I think you can be a captain of a ship and still invite other people's genius in to the process.
Yeah.
I would like to always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a commendable act to do. When anyone takes on that challenge and asks me to help them in any way, to like as a support system, I'm like, dude, absolutely, because you got a lot going on, right? Or they'll call me for notes, or even like, hey, can you jump in and do a cameo, or like, do you know anybody that can help me with sound? Instead of, you know, laughing and saying, well, you bit off more than you could chew, and no, I'm not going to give you my services for whatever. It's a Yeah, man, like whatever you need, because what you're doing is it's
Are you okay?
are you okay? Do you need to talk?
I think there's also a knowing yourself. Like, I'm not Christopher Nolan. Like, I
Mhm.
like the art I make. I think it's really, really good. It's not at that level where I need to hold on so tightly.
Yeah.
And man's a genius. Like, it's great.
Do,
Yeah.
I uh I was talking to this photographer, and again, taking it to the fault, and I don't know if it's a Julio trait or if that's a Mexican trait, but like he was like, oh, you know, some people this and that and that, and I said, um, my wife says that I'm not competitive, right? Like, if you want to like have had an actor say, like, I'm at the end of the scene, like, man, I won that scene.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way of looking at a scene. Like, I won that scene, right? Um, so I'm not particularly competitive. I am collaborative, but sometimes collaborative to a fault, right?
Mm.
Where I will, in service of others or in service of, you know, helping other people or getting their thing, I will sometimes not fully voice my opinion or fully voice my concern on something, and it sometimes um, impedes the process or impedes myself, because I'm like, I don't think that that's gonna work, but I don't want to hurt their feelings, right? Or I don't want to invalidate their.
You mean they suck and you're not saying
Well,
it?
no, I don't want to invalidate, because like that's also absolutely subjective by whoever's gonna watch it. Someone's gonna watch the Golden Retriever and be like, that is the best dog that I've ever seen. Like, you know, some people want Air Bud, right? And when you show them
A Rottweiler who's
yeah,
been in a
Rottweiler
couple
from a
fights.
Squinkly, they're like, that's the ugliest dog I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, it's not. That's Dante from Coco, man. Like, that's an adorable pup. Uh, so I think taste is subjective, but uh, I don't like making people feel like their artistic choices aren't good or strong, right? But sometimes at the detriment of sometimes the project. I'm like, we did that, even though my gut feeling was we shouldn't have done that. But I didn't tell you that because I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
And have you moved on past hurting people's feelings?
Working on it.
Well, does it always have to hurt their feelings? We can just, I think, like, there's a fine line between being honest from the place where you're honest from, and how you deliver information.
Yeah.
To hurting someone's
feelings. Yeah, I think it's hurting. It's hurting. Like, I don't. If I find someone who is an incredibly talented artist, and I know that their ego is more exposed, right? And I'm not even like, you know, where if I
exposed ego is such a good term.
Yeah,
because it makes me think of being like an open wound.
Mm-hmm.
You're just so easy to poke.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And they're doing great. They're doing great. They're doing great. And it's like, if you say, hey, maybe what if you went this way? And then it's like, wait, you, oh man, maybe I'm thinking about this. No, I don't want you. No, you know what? I'm just going to scrap this. No, I didn't ask you to scrap it. I just, you know.
That was me as an artist for so long. I mean, I think it's still related to that. Like, you give me one note, I go as far as humanly possible.
Yeah.
That, man, for so long I thought I was the shit. So any note a director gave me, I was like, you're an idiot, but I'll show you that you're an idiot, and I'll go as far as humanly possible. And I'm glad that's out of me.
That's good. That's good.
I love directors. I love notes. I love notes. I love editors as a writer. I love a note. I love that I cannot see what I cannot see.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And we can all make such better art if we realize that. Now, not everybody's view and opinion is top notch, but if you have your sacred crew of people you respect and trust, like, they can see what you can't see.
Yeah.
You know, I got to be on a sitcom with two legends, maybe three legends, and I loved asking them questions. This or this. Should I hit this or should I hit this? And they were generous, you know, and that was, if I didn't ask, I would have
You
been
wouldn't have
worse
gotten
for the
the
process.
yeah.
Yeah, that it's life's too short to be other than whatever the opposite of generous is. Stingy, closed,
Stingy.
small.
Yeah.
So you were describing Mexico and its history, and you were like this, and these people came in, uh, and we've had a conversation before. You're like deeply versed
Mm-hmm.
in your brownness and what it means to you and your definition of it. That's from school. That's from just like you're like I need to do this on my own.
It was absolutely, in my case, a later on in my life experience. But then it was this domino effect of like, oh, I just wasn't dealing with it ever, right? Um, because when I look back at it, all of these little micro uh, incidents, aggressions, positive experiences all led up to this culmination of this moment that I had of like, oh, I am a brown man. Um, yes, because now I self identify that way, but more so because that's the way that the world looks at me.
Because now I self-identify that way. Before you self-identified that way,
Yeah.
you were a
Mexican man.
Mexican man, and then things happen,
And then things happened,
and you become a brown man.
yeah,
Internally, whatever you claim it,
yeah,
we claim what we claim, uh, because other people
mm-hmm.
view you that way.
Yeah, it was. I did this show on my block, which was life changing and an incredible experience. But in that year between booking the show, filming the show, and it coming out, or year and a half, because then obviously then it became what it was. Nobody knew what my autonomy was still my own. It wasn't, I was not a public figure. And in the show, I play the. He's not a stereotype, but he presents as like the stereotypical cholo gangbanger, Mexican American man. And me approaching that role as an actor, I kind of wanted to delve completely. I spoke about this at this film festival that I was at this past weekend, where before I would want to Daniel Day Lewis. I wanted to bring the work home. I wanted to feel everything. And in this last movie that I did, I learned how to leave that on set. I can't bring that energy back home. I need my home to be me, my kids, my wife, my space, and that's where I live. Because everything outside is another character or this or what. But at that time, it was just like, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound. And so I gained a certain amount of weight. I shaved my head. I walked around in a certain with certain mannerisms
At all times.
At all times, so that I could embody that character, that it wasn't who I had been before then. So I needed to know how the world would react if, like, the part of the character was his presence and imposition, and I had never particularly been an imposing person before.
Para servir.
Para servir, right? So I was like, can I be an imposing figure? And so just through my walk and my facial expression, then I saw people move out of the way, clutch their purse, ask me, "Are you lost?" Get pulled over. All of these different experiences that they then, when I went back, they had happened before, but I was oblivious to it, or didn't think that it was me, or are they looking at somebody behind me? I know they were looking at me, but it was never. I was not self-aware of those moments, and for a long time, I got really really angry, because I was like, for me, in the context of an actor and a character, this is a costume. I can take this off, but this is someone's reality. They can't and shouldn't have to just take off how they present themselves and still be loving, generous, kind people in service of others. But just because of the way that society has portrayed them and have how they've portrayed themselves, like when I approached Spooky, it wasn't guns, glory, money. It was protection. I went through the history of Chicanos and also gangs in Los Angeles and how they started as community protection places because they didn't have that own protection from
Yeah.
anywhere else, and it evolved and it evolved and evolved and it got corrupted like many things do, and then it stays there. But like when they say that like honor amongst thieves or like the core of it is protection and family, yes, there is guns and violence and corruption and trafficking and awful, awful, awful things that have been put on top of that. But at the bottom of this, they all kind of carry this code, right? And that's what I wanted to like hold on to and portray. But again, going back to how the world saw me and me being upset about how others who weren't that but did present themselves this way didn't have that out. Um, and I remember when I told my mom, I was like, oh, I'm gonna play this like it's like just con que no sea un cholo, mijo. And I was like, he's like, but why? You know, and this and that. And coming from Mexico City with this idea of like, you know, my mom was very much a she didn't want to leave Mexico City. We left because of a violent situation, um, and she was always very much like the only way that Mexico is going to be better is if Mexicans stay here to make it better, right?
Mm.
So she was a little bit broken to come here, but my father was like, because of this experience, can we now finally move to the United States and try to do something bigger and better here? Um, and so when we first got here, I that's when I first saw the divide between like the Mexican and the Mexican American, right? Where the Mexican American had created their own entire culture here. And even though I lived in the same space, like the San Fernando Valley, like, and I would see people that looked like me hanging out, doing the cookouts, playing baseball in the park, my mom saw them as a potential threat.
Mm.
So I wasn't allowed to go and play there on Sundays, but going with, you know, John Jacobs,
John Jacobs is definitely white.
right? And hang out with him and his mom and play paintball or something was something that my mom was like, "Well, I don't like the paintball element, but at least this is."
Sure do like John.
But I like John, and let me push you in that direction of John, right? Um, and and that's how I kind of grew up in a sheltered space where it almost it, it wasn't my choice, right? But I was the token brown kid without knowing that I was the brown kid, right? And then I didn't say that I was brown. I didn't say that I was Latino. I would specifically say that I was Mexican, right? Because in the midst of last century, this term of mestizaje was popularized and kind of blanketed all of Mexico, which was supposed to be this unifying thing where like we're all Mexican, right? Um, in that unification, it absolutely,
which is the whole Latinx, Latine, Latinidad, like
yeah,
everyone trying to make one.
it absolutely diluted every other individual, right? It hid the European and the whiter into feeling like we're not European, we're Mexican, even though you just moved here from your mother just moved here from France, but you were born here, so you're Mexican. You're good, right? There's also like a Mexican can be born wherever he wants. I love that new expression, but it dilutes the fact that there is the Afro Mexicano, there is the indigenous, there is the Japanese Mexican, there is the South American individual who moved the way up to Mexico. So it diluted all of that, right? But it did have this unification sensed for me when I was a kid. It made sense. I was like, I'm Mexican, and for when I said I'm Mexican, I didn't have to identify if I was white-sican, right, or Afro Mexicano, or this idea of mestizo. It was just Mexican. I didn't have to put that moniker of brown on, right? Which at the time did feel like, oh, it's like I'm Mexican. I'm not Mexican American, right? Uh, and that was my experience growing up as a kid and being that one token kid, and as I got older, and then finally this experience with on my block, it it had a domino effect on like everything that I had seen previously, and now the moniker. I do like the idea of brown, because you said when we spoke before, the global majority,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a term that feels scary to specifically a country that keeps calling us minorities,
Yes.
right? And so the term brown, yes,
And it is scary to them.
yeah,
Like, that's a thing we need to acknowledge. A lot of the violence taking place and a lot of the intense action politically to not allow our voices to feel like they have power
mm-hmm.
is due to this fear in them. There is a tremendous fear in them. I might be wiped out.
Yeah, like
I might lose my place.
Where do I exist in this space, in this new space that we're clearly headed into? I had a person tell me, because I know I wear these hats all the time. I mean, I like the way the hat looks, but also, speaking to Carlos, the creator of the brand, I like what he's bringing on, which is the idea of brown. Yes, is starting in Mexico, but like brown is a larger shade around the world.
Well, I'm trying to like outside of Latinidad, I use that term because I don't want to be different than my South Asian best friend.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I want us to share this, that we're in this fight together. We're all in the cage together.
Yeah.
And there's power in that strength. Blackness has done it so well.
But the idea of how it's framed and how it's antagonized this person on this white man, I don't know, months ago. I was wearing this hat and they said, how would you feel if I wore a hat that said like white power, or like
someone said this to you?
Yeah. And I said,
where were you? Any details?
Closer down to OC.
Okay.
Around the
on the streets, just
on the street, yeah, like closer to the Disneyland area, right?
Okay.
And
how would you feel if I wore a white power hat?
Yeah, and I was like, well, my hat, my brown and proud is not it doesn't say brown supremacy, right? It doesn't say it's I am proud of the moniker that has been placed upon me, and now I have found the meaning of it within myself, and I want to expand the definition of the stereotype that people have that aren't exposed. Because if you're just born and raised in a brown community, there is nothing to explain other than it is as wide and complex and beautiful as anything else. But if you're not exposed to it, you just think, ooh, brown.
And also, homie, not that you need an explanation,
right?
Like, but it's not your fault. You could be the nicest cat in the world, but since racial monikers were created, because they are a construct,
mm-hmm.
you are now, unfortunately, a child of a label that has caused a lot of harm. Mm-hmm. And so you can't go around wearing white and proud because someone else, even if you are proud, has caused harm. Mm-hmm. Has caused harm with that kind of statement and rhetoric. Mm-hmm. From this construct. Not that he needs an explanation, but
yeah,
as we
yeah, but that is true. And it's like, so am I supposed to be ashamed of where I come from? It's like, no, but like you said, enough harm has been made in the name of that moniker. You can't,
I can't. You said something. Actually, I can believe it. Of course I can believe it. As we start to wrap, any sort of questions for me, or any kind of like big ideas that are poking you, bothering you?
Yes. What's up with this election, Doc? No.
Speaking of, we're in this election, and the MAGA governor is currently in the lead. Now, it's granted it's not the end one, but that guy probably we know that guy voted for.
Yeah, no, I'm working on a it's a comedy that explores the manosphere and man camps and whatnot, but a conversation that even when I bring it up to like my wife and it and it immediately becomes an eye roll, the same way where it's like, hey, can we discuss, is there a space where I can be proud of where I come from? It's like someone saying, like, can you be proud of being white? It's like, you can, but understand the weight behind it, right? And then that feeling of displacement. Something that we're working through right now in writing this script is this idea of the displaced male, right? And that it is not as harmful, but not constructive. Like, so what's not constructive is young males who find um, role models in just 1950s archaic, backwards, toxic shit, right? Um, which is where a lot of the people are going, or a lot of these kids are going, but also the dismissiveness of saying, um, you don't have anything to complain or whine about. Me as a 36-year-old man, sure, I can understand the context of that. How does a 6-year-old contextualize that?
I
Right.
want to give you a man thing related to acting and your method acting,
Uh-huh.
once upon a time, maybe still, that I had heard, which I love. Men are obsessed with method acting because acting requires foolishness. It requires silliness, being unput together, and that so many men love method acting because they're afraid to just act that way. They have to be that way.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, I have to be this
Yeah.
in order to break in this way, or in order to be
Yes.
silly in this way, or goofy in this way, or ugly in this way. I can't perform that, but I can become it. And
Yeah.
this was, I honestly think, like Kristen Bell said something like this, and I was Kristen Stewart,
Yeah.
and I was really moved.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that as well, and I was like, yeah, I think that I give myself permission to be whimsical, but I absolutely think that it's again, it's if I go all in and I say I transform myself into another person, I am not that. It gives you that distance, that ability to say, well, that's not who I am, right? If you're playing it and you're exposing a part of who you are, it's like, oh, I found this within myself and I'm expressing it to all of you, right? That's a much more vulnerable space to be in.
The spiritual version of me knows that there is nothing in this world that is not inside you. Like, this is for actors and non-actors. Like Socrates says, if you can kill a fly, you can kill a man. It's just a different amount of weight. It's the same energy.
Whoa.
Like, and so we can channel all of it, and that might be scary. I do think of like the behind the scenes of The Shining. You see like Jack Nicholson's like joking 1 second, and then they're like, hey, can you focus? And he like is a murderer.
Right.
I think that's the craft, and that's so incredible. Now, I don't think everyone can do that. That's why it is a craft and a practice. But there's nothing not inside every human being in this world. Like, there's no feeling that's too distant from you. I truly believe that. And that it might be exciting for non-artists to find these new places and feelings and
to try to
and taste, just to expand the play range of living.
Dude, absolutely. Just quickly bringing it back, if you were to give a 6-year-old boy who has no context of why it is problematic for him to be who he is, how would you open that conversation?
How do I tell a 6-year-old that toxic masculinity is problematic?
Like, why is it that you being who you are will eventually lead, like, you are a lion cub now, but eventually you're going to be a lion, and the zebras are fucking terrified of you?
It's a great question. How do you tell? That's a great way to put it too. You're a cub, and when you are full, they'd rather be alone in the woods with a bear than you. I don't think it's in the telling, it's in the showing.
Right.
It's not in the telling.
Yeah.
It's strictly in the nonverbal. And sadly, now as you are the parent, it's in the restricting of the internet. They will be exposed. You won't be there.
Yeah.
The whole time. And the internet is a wild place. And I don't know how it's happening so effectively, but these young men are, 3 YouTube videos away from some terrible aggro man trying to convince them.
I think that it's so effective because it is so easily accessible and there is no alternative. There is no not asshole male role model.
So I'm laughing because I have a friend, Tasba, who I'm trying to get on this show. Genius, Tasba Rose Chavez. And Tasba says, yo, I think you should start like some sort of OnlyFans or something where you just like are kind to people. Like no clothes taking off. Like you just like people come in and you're just kind to them, or they tip you and you like you reward them with kindness. She was like, I think if anyone can do it, you can do it. And then I told her, we'll wrap here, but I forever ago I was like, what if on Pornhub you were watching something and then a video of me came up and I was like, you're amazing. You're wonderful. Like, keep being you. I got those videos got removed and I got banned because I put up a bunch.
Yeah.
And it didn't go as I thought it would go.
Right.
Because I think I later learned that if you're like watching porn, like the shame in you does not want to be complimented.
No.
So that was not the approach, but there's something about like being the other side. So if I do it complimenting OnlyFans, you now know it came from this conversation too. If that's what gets me my Knicks tickets to the finals,
dude,
it's worth it. Any last thoughts?
Man, I said this before. You're doing the people's work here. I love the conversations that you've had. I was not privy or exposed to as much of you until I read the book, and then when I read the book, I was just like, aha.
Yeah, no pitching.
Come in here. We're gonna share a meal. Tell me about your life. How are you doing? But no pitching.
Yes. Hit me with your final word if you don't mind.
Yeah, my final thought is that as I mentioned, I think that you're really doing the people's work here. I was not exposed to as much as you before I read your book, and then when I read it, it was like, yes, more of this, more of these, framing the questions, because you don't go out and say, this is what we need to do, these are the answers. It's more of, I am framing the questions and we desperately need to all collectively figure this out, right? And not saying like that we're going to have a monolith set of answers that everyone can like come in and check and answer, but I feel like the questions are just being diluted or not even asked sometimes. So I hope for more exposure of you into everyone's world and existence, because I think that we need more of you.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
More of you as well. Truly.
Let's get
Grateful. And then I'll have your boy on. Brown and Proud.
Yeah, brother.
It's coming on.
Homie.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you, doggy.
That's our time. I hope you loved it. I know I did. And I will see you next week. It's really nice to be back for season 4. Much love. Peace.